Hello, KXW wrestling fans. For those who are not known to KXW and don't know much about KXW, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Josh Snyder, and I'm here to do a little reaction video. Just do a reaction because someone decided to name drop me. So, I'm going about my daily business. Not even worrying about KXW. Well, sort of, but I'll get to that in a bit. Stupid. And as I'm going about my daily business, I get a text from a friend of mine saying, hey, you need to watch this. He sends me a link to the video, I'm watching it, and it is my old friend Christian Payne, and Christian Payne decides to come on to the Virtual Chaos podcast and try to slander my good name, try to slander me with lies, try to slander me with non-truths, just to make himself feel good, just to make himself seem like the victim, because Payne needs to be the victim. That's how he's always been. He needs to be the victim. He needs to make himself the superhero. But I'm here to stop this. I'm here to end this, because he's not the hero. That's the end of it. He's not the hero. So, we're gonna watch this. And, I'm here to expose all of his lies. Every one of them. Let's see what our boy here has to say.
Well, right now, could you just go ahead and tell us about yourself?
Yes.
I understand that you're a third-generation wrestler, so tell us a bit about yourself and your family.
Well, as for me being a third-generation wrestler, my grandfather, Roy Simpson, was a journeyman back in the 70s, all the way up until the mid-90s. He wrestled as the Nightmare, not the most creative gimmick, but he was very, very recognized throughout all of Canada. Multiple promotions would bring him in. He had a very unique look, despite the creative lack. My father, Robert Simpson, the Eliminator, is the godfather. He's why I'm here today. He's why I'm making history with EFET. He started AWC in about 1996. He felt there was a huge drought in Canadian wrestling, so he was just like, well, what if there was like a permanent home for Canadian wrestling? So he, Voodoo Man, and his dad opened AWC, his promotion, and like every major wrestling company, financials got in the way, and television deals and stuff. So yeah, he had to close that down, but in the ashes came KXW.
I'm going to spend time here talking about my experience of AWC because it's probably the only time I can. Now, unfortunately, when you've been in a lot of stuff and you've had a lot of injuries, as I have in my career, a lot of things forget your brain, and major moments haven't. Some have, some haven't when it comes to AWC. I remember being treated well by Goldman Industries when they had it. They treated me like I was a star. They were the only ones to see me as a star when Payne's family didn't. They didn't want to see me as a star. Payne wanted only his family to be the major point. Eliminator, I'll give the respect of the fact he trained me. He's the reason I'm here. That's the end of the story. But the fact is, Eliminator and his family wanted to be the spotlight. They wanted it, and there was no room for me for them. I've gotten my success. When they ran it, I was AWC Cruiserweight Champion. Held that for 188 days. Real proud of that. I had a good tag title run with Jordan Scar. But I was never allowed to get into the world title scene until I was with Goldman Industries, because they saw me as the star and they wanted to give me that chance that the Payne family wouldn't. And it's because of that I'm here. It's because of the fact that of Goldman Industries that I am world champion. Eliminated is the reason I'm wrestling. Goldman Industries is the reason I can see myself as a star, because they made me believe I was. As for locker room, a hell of a lot of guys were there. There were a hell of a lot of guys. But there were a hell of a lot of guys that were there. Some of course, not many I've kept contact with. The only ones I've ever kept contact with were the ones from the Academy of Violence, which started as just 8 guys who wanted to be the future of the wrestling industry. That's what it was. It was 8 guys who were ready to do whatever it took, and it showed in everything we did. We all clamored for success. Unfortunately, some lost that clamorage and just couldn't handle it. It was a ridiculous thing. Payne skipped over a lot of stuff when it comes to AWC, especially his downward spiral. I know he's here to talk about KXW, but talk about yourself while you're at it. He doesn't talk about his downward spiral. He doesn't talk about the fact that for a while he wasn't wanted in AWC because of the fact of his downward spiral, and a lot of people didn't trust him and thought he was just going to let them down again. But he was able to. I will give him this. He was able to prove him wrong, but then he kept. It's the same problem he always has, where a need for control and a need for a spotlight just kind of ruined him. So.
Me and a bunch of friends from the Academy of Violence, his wrestling school, decided, okay, we can do this. We can do this. We were very inspired by Cody Rhodes and the Bucks and the whole all-in concept, and we were just like,
I don't know. I have no comment to that, because that's pretty sure KXW started before they did. Now, we got bigger around that time, so that may have been what he meant, but KXW started before All In was even a thing. So, I don't know where he's getting that one. That's a new part to me.
it's like, we can do this, can't we? Let's try it. So that's how KXW came to be.
Heck yeah. It's definitely a good story behind it. So what would you say that your best memory of the AWC is?
Well, the best memory of AWC was definitely the locker room. We had a bunch of great talent. We had great working relationships with the big leagues, so there was a lot of talent coming in, but a lot of homegrown talent. The Brooklyn Brawlers, absolutely one of the best tag teams ever. Mad Dog, what a look. Like, you take Shad Gaspard and you take Moose and you put them together, you got Mad Dog. He's phenomenal talent. And just overall the family that I made there. When it folded, I was definitely heartbroken, but I knew it wasn't the end. I knew that I had to do something. So KXW was the first plan, because we didn't have a name. We didn't really have any budget, because AWC had just closed down, and the only money coming in was bringing guys into the wrestling school. And that's where I met everybody that would go to form the core KXW Originals.
Okay, let me just speak on what he just said. So, It's kind of hard to say because they didn't speak a lot of lies. The Brooklyn Brawlers are a hell of a tag team. Mad Dog agreed. Hell of a look. But he never gives credit to the name, which I will. The name KXW came from my brother Tom Terror, who came up with the name KXW, although they never give him credit for it, at least publicly, so I'm going to. Terror came up with the name KXW before he turned into the person he is now. This is when he just wanted to wrestle. He was just like me, just wanted to wrestle. We wanted to be a tag team. They wanted him singles wise, and they put me instead with Joe and Scar, which we didn't have an issue with. KXW wise, again, they kept us apart, but we wanted to be a tag team. It's come down to we saw each other in different ways. We both, after a while, we could have done it, but then it was that point where we just decided it's better off for singles guys at that point of our careers. But yeah, the name KXW came from my brother Tom Taylor. I just want to give him that credit since they never do. So
some of them have come and gone, and a lot of drama has ensued, but KXW, as of right now, is still going strong.
Of course. Well, that's definitely a good thing. Definitely a good thing that you guys are still going on. So, I guess that you already kind of answered my next question. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the audience watching and possible fans of KXW that are watching, like for like the future or maybe even surprises coming?
Yes. So, as for KXW right now, we're on a bit of a hiatus, but that doesn't mean you won't see any matches. We got some stuff in the vault that we've shot while out on tour. We've got a great tag team title match between Total Devastation and the Springboard Superman Steel Cage match. Phenomenal tag teams going at it for the KXW Tag Team Championships.
Congratulations to Springboard Superman. Did watch that match. Congratulations to them. Good tag team. Like both guys.
That's coming out tomorrow on the KXW Wrestling Central YouTube channel. And basically that match is going to determine who are the tag team champions going into the first season of KXW Voltage, which will be coming out in the 2022 season.
Okay.
And everything KXW-wise is going to go by seasons now. Because
this is just a random thing I'm going to put over. This man looks great in a suit. I don't know what his name. I think his name is Adam Styles, by what I've heard. But this man looks good in a suit. Just wanted to throw it out there. Doesn't mean anything. Nobody gives a shit. But I just wanted to throw it out there. Man looks good in a suit.
For most hardcore KXW fans, it seems there's a new show popping up every once in a while, like Battleground and Underground and something to do with ground or down or Outbreak. Everything KXW related is going to be on Voltage, and it's going to be labeled as seasons. No more separate shows, all one show, all KXW. And I wanted to make a big announcement here because your podcast needs some big breaking news. So I figured, what the hell? A lot of E-Feds have their championships, and a lot of E-Feds have their moments, but it usually stays to the virtual reality.
Right.
KXW is going to take one big giant step into reality. I've been making some conversations. I've gotten some designs worked out, but we have it timed before March, just to tie in with the release of 2K22. And when Voltage returns, KXW will have a actual physical KXW World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh my goodness! A physical title.
You see the stinking pathetic smirk on this sumbitch's face. This little smirky fuck. think he had just knows he dropped a blockbuster, and it is a blockbuster to have a physical championship for that. That is a hell of a thing to have above everybody else, because I don't think anyone else has that. But come on, that little smirk pisses me off because I know what's about to happen. I know I'm about to unleash on this bitch. But yes, that is a big deal. Them being a physical world, them having a physical world title. I hope a certain people get to hold it.
Yes.
A physical world title.
Absolutely. Physical in the flesh.
Tremendous.
Yes.
That is tremendous.
And there's a lot of superstars that are going to be returning to KXW for the 2022 season. And for the World Championship, basically every other champion that's a champion right now, no offense to Stryker, the current KXW World Heavyweight Champion, everybody is keeping their title, but I've made a deal with Stryker's manager, Chad Goldman, to basically vacate the KXW World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, hell no, you did not just do that to my boy Stryker. What the hell are wrong with you, Payne? Why do you keep screwing over people like this? Why people don't like you? What are you doing? Why would Goldman agree to that? What did you promise him that he doesn't get? That you're not going to give him? Stryker won I think it's a 30-man. It's a 30-man, might be 20 or 30-man Battle Royal Rumble thing to win that title. He is the KXW World Champion. And for you to just take it from him, because you want to do something new. You had a physical belt, so we got to have a tournament to crown the champion, even though there is a champ. I don't get it. I don't get it, Payne. You don't get your question in here. Even if you wanted to, does Stryker get something? You better have done Strikers in the finals. Whoever wins like a tournament or whatever has to face Stryker for that belt.
Stryker gets an automatic bye into the Lethal Lottery. Now, what the Lethal Lottery is going to be a 16-man tournament.
Oh, hell no! The reward he gets for that, the thing you made a deal, okay, you're going to be in the tournament. You at least get to be in the tournament. Oh, hell no, Stryker, if I was Stryker, I'd be suing your ass. Goddamn.
Now, like I said, Stryker has already got an automatic bye. But to fill the remaining 15 slots, I've compiled every roster member that is returning for the 2022 season, be it a singles competitor or a tag team wrestler. And I'm putting them all on a big, giant wheel. And I'm going to be spinning that wheel. And whoever gets chosen from the wheel will then be entered into that 16-man tournament.
Boy, drinking beer or vodka or something while talking to him. I don't blame him. I need to be drunk to talk to Kristen Payne too. Boy.
To have the opportunity.
I'm saving my anger because I know my name's brought up. I'm waiting until then before I unleash it.
To become the KXW World Heavyweight Champion, and hold the physical title.
That's amazing. That is tremendous news, actually. Having a fully customized title is big, because in most e-feds, at least from what I've seen, have your replicas that they just put a logo on, and there's nothing wrong with that, really, right? And really, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just really cool that you guys are making a physical title and having that to hold. And that makes promos better. It makes you feel better about the character having a physical thing. Definitely will light a fire under me if I had a physical title in my hand. I'd cut a promo like Randy Orton tonight. So, it's definitely a good thing that you guys are doing that, and it's definitely very surprising to finally have something of worth be announced. And so yeah, any other big spoilers you might have for us?
Well, I've got news, but I want to save that for Voltage. So, anybody who hasn't subscribed to the KXW Wrestling Central YouTube channel, you might want to do it and stay tuned for March. I don't know exactly what date because they haven't released the date of the game. But some point in March or in April, depending on when they release it, KXW Voltage Season 1 will be coming straight to YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome news.
Absolutely.
So definitely can't wait for that. So now we're going to kind of head into some tough questions, some relating to your past and maybe even your future with KXW. So could you possibly tell me just a little bit about Josh Snyder?
All right, so let me get ready here, because this is where my anger will be shown full force.
What's he like?
Well, Josh Snyder. Well, like I said before, the Academy of Violence. He was the first student, other than the core family, to walk in the door. And from day one, we knew that he had something, and we knew that he had that it factor to make it in this business.
You bunch of lying ass boys. Okay. Alright, so let's figure out how to do. So, first student, that's true. I was the first person pretty much at the Academy of Violence door when it started. So, when Eliminator trained me, he trained me pretty much as good as he could. So, I will say that Eliminator might have thought I saw something. In no way do I believe that this goddamn family, the rest of this goddamn family anyways, believed in me at all. I was not at all treated as if they believed in me. I never felt that way, at least. Payne befriended me. Christian Payne befriended me. And while he may have presented as if he believed in me for maybe a short time, I never fully believed he did, because he still always wanted the spotlight on him, and that's all he's ever wanted. That's all he wants. He wants to be the center of attention. He wants it all about him. He wants to be everyone loves, and he'll do anything to goddamn get it. But he can't. When he isn't, he has to complain. He has to beg someone. He has to find an excuse for everything. That's how he is. He tries to present it here differently. But I know the goddamn truth. And he's right now full of shit. He never believed shit in me.
But I'm not knocking on anybody in the industry, but you'll get those people that come into somebody else's company, or just life and ownership, and they think they own the place.
Yeah, I do know one. One's talking on the goddamn screen right now. You are trying to tell me that I walked in to Academy of Violence, so I walked into AWC like I own the damn place? What the hell have you been smoking, boy? Actually, I'm not surprised. I probably lost stuff you've been smoking. But to think this way is deluded, because you know the goddamn truth, that's a lie. You know for a fact that's a goddamn lie. Academy of Violence, I'm pretty much the main quietest one there besides Terror, because Terror just never spoke at all. I don't know, besides saying KXW, I don't know if he ever really said another sentence to another human being. But I never would try to claim ownership or act like I own the place. So you right now is just straight lying to people, make me look like a bad guy. And yes, I am a bad, bad man. But when I have never once claimed that, never once even acted like I owned a Camera Violence or AWC or KXW or any place like that. The only time I ever acted like I owned KXW was when I owned KXW.
And they have such a chip on their shoulder. They have such an attitude and an arrogance about them.
I had not had an arrogance when I first started. I have grown a chip on my shoulder, I will admit that. I have a big chip on my shoulder, and it's still there. It's been there most of my career, pretty much, since KXW started. In AWCU, I somewhat have one, but that was mainly due to him being an arrogant little shit fuck that I had to put down with a punch straight to his goddamn jaw. But no, I've never had I did not just walk in thinking I owned it. I did not walk in with an attitude and a chip on my shoulder. I gained a chip on my shoulder, I heavily admit that, but no, I did not just act like I had a chip on my shoulder. Born is last.
And Josh, with all of his gifts that he had in the ring and on the microphone, he can be a bit of an asshole.
Oh, that's straight true. See, that's true. Even without a chip on my shoulder, I am an asshole. I am a genuine asshole. That is just the way I am. When you've been in my position for a long damn time, you start to become one. When you have no father, no thing, and you have no one to rely on, and you have everyone treating you like you're shit, and you don't belong, yeah, you slowly become an asshole, and I've become a genuine asshole, and most of the people thought I would and felt me as an asshole. So yes, that part's true. But it's not the perspective he's put in. I am an asshole. But I don't think I've won anything.
Right. And I'm not just blowing smoke. Anybody who has had some sort of interaction with Josh Sniper in any company has experienced what I've experienced. But that...
What have you experienced, Payne? Why don't you tell them what you experienced? Because you didn't give no detail that you tried to gloss on over because you didn't have nothing to say. Because you know you're full of shit. How dare you? How dare you try to act like I'm this freaking horrible man? Again, am I an asshole? Absolutely. Did I end up being just a Pacific asshole to you? Absolutely not.
That also being said, he was a man that I shared the roads with. He was a man that I've had many of bad nights with, and many of long sleepless nights traveling between cities. Josh can be a handful, but when you get him at the right moment, he can be a nice guy. But that being said,
see how we try to gloss over that part? See, here's the thing that people seem to get this wrong. I am never a bad guy to everyone. It's not the way I work. I don't just walk over to you and just start being an asshole to you. You have to earn. If I get the presence that you don't like me, or I get the presence that you want an asshole of me, you will get an asshole response from me. I have traveled down the road with him a bunch of times. Yes, I will admit that. Everything he says right there was almost true. Almost. The ending part was full of shit. But I have traveled down a thing. I have seen him at his worst. He's seen me at mine. Well, not really. Actually, for the second part. But I've seen him at his worst. I was there for him when he needed me. I try to be as good as friend as I can be, but apparently it's never good enough for him.
The last interaction that Josh and I had didn't end very well.
Let's see how he spins this to a different direction.
Okay. Because Garrett Lee, when I was running my own career, I decided that I was going to sell my share of KXW. My dad had 50% ownership, and I wanted to compete more in the ring. And you know, anybody that runs a company, and especially at that time I had already held the 24/7 championship twice, people start to think, wait, you run the thing and you're a champion?
Yes, because you booked yourself to be the thing and you didn't even have a match to crown yourself 26. You just handed yourself the belt. You made yourself have that reputation. You gave yourself that reputation because you wanted a spotlight. You need a spotlight. You crave the spotlight. It's all you've ever cared about. You didn't care about anything else. All you've ever wanted, Payne, was the spotlight on you so you could be the guy and you could be the center of attention. And it pisses you off every time you don't and there's someone better than you. So you do this thing. Make a championship and just give it to yourself. So once finally, you can be the center of attention that you want to be. And once it came clear to you that people were going on to your bullshit, then you sell your stuff to be, see, I'm champion still without it. Bullshit.
They start to label you. So I
Justifiably label you.
sold off my share to a guy named Garrett Lee. And at that point, things were running very smooth. And Josh had left KXW, and he was running around the independent circuit. And he was doing big things, but it seemed every time he would have a match on the indies, he would slander KXW.
See, that's not even true. I don't even know where he got this from. I literally have no idea. I never mentioned KXW for a reason. Mainly because when I was around doing the indie scenes, I didn't work for the freaking company. It's not because I left there. It's because I never was invited there. See, I don't know where he's getting this perspective that I left KXW, then went to go do the indies. I once started doing the indies when KXW started, and I never got offered a contract despite me leaving AWC with the rest of them to go do it. Most of them left just at the end of when AWC was going down because they fired Eliminator. So the Eliminator left. He asked a bunch of the original guys to go with him, including me, who I was currently AWC World Champ and the only merch seller in AWC. And out of loyalty to Eliminator, I left. Yet still, I don't get anything. Everyone else gets offered a contract and gets everything. I get shit. I'm left at the freaking altar there. I'm left with nothing. So yeah, you're damn right I got pissed at KXW. Yeah, I did some videos on KXW and I said how I felt. But I never just started showing up to indie promotions just bad-mouthing KXW. Because frankly, once I started indie promotions, I didn't give a shit about KXW. KXW was not my business. Doing that match and leaving was my business. So I don't know where he's getting this damn thing from, and he may want to get his mind thing and get his facts straight before he starts slandering names.
He was one of the core originals that helped me create this place, and he had the audacity to slander us and come at us with these baseless claims of nepotism just because I and the rest of my family were on the roster.
No, it's because the rest of your family held me down to make sure they remained on this main spot of the roster. That's why I got mad. It has nothing to do with the fact they're on the roster. I don't give a shit that they're on the roster. Stop trying to hold everybody down and make yourselves the center stars. Then maybe people would not hate you like I did. Here's another example for you then. If you want to explain to me why I've never held a championship. Explain to me why Terror's never held a title until he became a tag team guy. Explain why Ashton Rose hasn't held one. Explain why I took Jordan Fox only got one once he started kissing Chris Payne's ass. Explain why J.A. Biggs hasn't got enough. Explain to me why Jordan Scar, and Scott can barely get damn screen time on KXW. Explain all that to me if you're going to try to present it as if your family was perfectly fine letting other people get an opportunity. Unless they kissed your ass or they were just one of the big stars, you didn't give original shit.
Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I understand. I get it. It's a one versus many situation. It's me, my father, sometimes my grandfather, my cousin, my two brothers, and my sister, all on the roster. But not all of us are active. Not all of us are in big situations.
You made sure your ass was. I never ran into his grandfather, although I probably would have fought him and beat his ass if I did.
So he took it upon himself that when he was out of his KXW contract, he took it upon himself to come back to the Academy of Violence, the place that my father created to bring in the young talent, to help us find more talent for KXW. he had the audacity to come in and just beat the holy hell out of 2 of our newest students.
So to correct a bit of that, I was not under a KXW contract. I was never, that was during the time I never fucking had one. I don't know why he's claiming I was out of a KXW contract. I never had a KXW contract. That was during that time where they just for some reason left me at the altar. So yeah, I got pissed. I had a grudge. I had a grudge because I found out from a little birdie that he's the reason I didn't have one. Because he made sure to go to Eliminator and tell him and beg him not to hire me. So I got pissed. I got pissed at him. I got pissed at the Eliminator. I got pissed at his family because I felt freaking betrayed. Because I left a good spot, a prominent spot where I was making money in AWC as their world champ to show loyalty to him and leave the company, and I get nothing out of it. So yeah, I held a grudge. I got pissed. I had a chip on my shoulder and I had some anger left in me, so I showed up at the damn school. Yes, I beat the hell out of 2 guys, which, by the way, shows how weak that place has gone, because back in the day when it was all 8 of us, the originals, you tried to do that, we beat the shit out of your ass. So I don't know what the hell has gone weak in that damn place. While I was able to beat up 2 guys and not a person lifted a finger. So, and yeah, as he's about to probably say, I don't know if he's going to mention it, I injured the guy for a good length of time, apparently. To be honest, that kind of just shows how weak his ass is, because I didn't really do as much as I wanted to there. I got my thing hit him a couple times with a chair and I left, so he's a weak bastard. It's not my fault.
Put one of them on the shelf for 6 months. He couldn't even have his first match.
Not my fault. You guys didn't think I didn't injure him that badly. I don't know. Out for 6 months, probably had a nagging injury. I just probably must have made worse, because there's no way. I know what I did to them, and in no way it'd be 6 months unless his stupid ass are weak as shit. So.
Sounds like a pretty bad man.
Yeah, no kidding.
I am a bad man, but not the way he's claiming.
And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is, after his little run in the bingo halls and on the indies...
And not bingo halls and indies. I was in major companies. I was in GPW. I was in other major companies. I don't like bingo. Don't you insult the fact that because I went around doing indies it seemed like a bad thing. I enjoyed that damn run, even despite the fact that I didn't agree. Most people didn't like me, and I didn't get along with most people. I enjoyed the living hell out of that run on the indies, doing those other companies, because it allowed me to meet new talent. Talent, by the way, you ass wouldn't have signed if I didn't introduce you to them back in the time when I still was somewhat cordial with you, even when I didn't like your stinking ass. So, you shouldn't be mad at goddamn me, because I'm the one introduced you to some people that like Maximus and K-Dog and guys like that. You wouldn't have even known about them if it wasn't for me. So how about you stop trying to seem like the indies are nothing, because that's how most people make their freaking bread and butter shit when you're fucking doing 1,600 hiatuses.
He decided to buy my share of KXW, and I had no idea of this.
Again, this is where the story probably will get changed to things. Allow me to get this out of the way. I did not buy KXW originally. That was not my intention. I had started this company, Snyder's Inc., Snyder Incorporated. It was me and most of my family that was out of wrestling. We had invested in smaller companies and been very successful with it. So we decided to go for a major one. I decided I'd go for the place that, despite my issue, was still a spotlight full thing and did what I love, which was the thing of wrestling. So I contacted Garrett Lee. I said, hey, I want to invest. Well, he says, actually, I was thinking about selling anyways. I said, okay, let's meet. So I met with him, and I'm not going to go into figures and financially, but we came up with a deal where I'd have 50%. Now, under no circumstances that I intend to fully run KXW. I understood that Eliminator still owned 50%. I was fine working with Eliminator. While I had an issue with him, I understood he was a good businessman. I understood how intelligent he was to the wrestling business. So I had no issue working with the Eliminator behind the scenes as a thing. So if that even gets out of the way and he tries to claim I plan to take that from Eliminator, I didn't. I don't know where he got that. But I originally wanted to invest. Gary Lee wanted to sell. I would be stupid if I didn't buy.
Garrett decided to make this big announcement that Patrick spewed into the universe our head analyst, he said that Garrett Lee has sold off his share of KXW to a mystery investor. And I'm just like, wait a second. I was once a shareholder. You can tell me my father.
Once means not anymore, which means you don't get to know shit. The fact that if a... No, wait.
For God's sakes. You can tell my father. None of us knew.
Okay, so the fact that Eliminator didn't know really annoyed me. Really annoys me, actually. Because I thought he did. I wanted him to know because I thought he would have been fine with it. I would have guessed there would have been no issue once I explained. I guess Gary Lee and then decided to keep it a mystery so they can get that reaction from a big reaction. I was not aware of that. So no, I am a little bit annoyed that Eliminator did not know. And that was not my intention to keep it a secret, really.
Who Garrett had sold the other share to. And then at this point, the person who announced to us, the mystery man, the lawyer got involved and convinced and hornswoggled my father to sell his share.
Okay, that's not true. I don't know what caused... I don't know if my lawyer got in contact with Eliminator and convinced them to sell. That might be true. I don't really know. I did not tell my lawyer to do that. My lawyer contacted me saying the Eliminator has agreed to sell his share to you too. It threw me off because again I was looking forward to work with him, but again, hell, it's a business, so okay, that's fine. Lawyer said he'd come up with a price, so I went with it. I said okay. So Eliminator I sent the money to Ding, and I got the shares, and I was now full owner. No, it was not. I did not send my lawyer to go do that, though. I had no issue working with the Eliminator. I had no reason to want the Eliminator out of there.
And then there was a point during an investor call where it was revealed that Josh had bought, at this point, the entirety of KXW. And immediately started changing things. Like, first of all, he dropped the entire KXW.
See, again, this is where my perspective is going to clearly try to bubble his stupid clouded one. I did not get rid of KXW. I did change the name. Yes, I will, and I'll clearly explain why. If Chris had known, I will call him Chris because that's how I know him from being friends with him before. If Chris had known how many times I had been asked what KXW stands for, and when I say it stands for Kingston Extreme Wrestling, he say, why the hell are you not just staying in Kingston then? He'd be mindful. I'd be rich more if I was given a nickel every time. It was getting ridiculous. So, I thought since we have now gone global, we're traveling the world, to change it to Global Extreme Wrestling. I wasn't doing it to berate or insult or destroy the legacy of KXW. That was never my intention. Nor will it ever be my intention. It's ridiculous to think he thought this way. I had the goal to do what I had to do to make it bigger and branded. And by the way, never once did no one complain about the name, that we changed the name. Not even the original guys complained that we changed the name. They were fine with it. I don't know why he's so clouded in judgment by it and trying to act like I changed it and I tarnished and got rid of the leg. I did not. I kept his stupid 24/7 title. I kept that stupid belt. I kept everyone who originally was in KXW. Didn't fire all except for one himself. I fired Christian Bane. I'll get to that when he probably brings it up. I kept all the pay-per-views. I kept everything else. I didn't change nothing. All I changed was just the name of the damn place. And do I regret changing it? No. I still think what I did, in my mind, what I did was the right move. He might be annoyed by it, but really I couldn't give a shit what he thinks. And I did the right thing in my mind by changing GXW. He wants to keep KXW, that's fine. But he can enjoy the stupid time they ask the stupid question. That question to him, because it's ridiculous to me.
KXW stood for Kingston Extreme Wrestling because he started in the mean streets of Kingston, Ontario. But then, when Josh became in charge of everything, it was Global Extreme Wrestling.
Because we're a global, dipshit.
Now, and don't get me wrong, GXW is a cool name for a company. But if you want to start a GXW, start one yourself. Don't come into my territory and rip things away from me.
Excuse me, let me tell you something, man, boy. I'm trying not to get this kicked off YouTube. I'm trying to control my language right here. How fucking dare you ever claim that is your territory? That was never your territory. Even when you ran it, it wasn't your damn territory. At that time in GXW, I did not walk into your territory. I walked into your father's territory, and then he sold his thing to me. I never, ever walked into your territory. There were many people who could claim it was their territory long before your stupid ass, alright? So how dare you? Dare you claim I walked into your territory and took everything from you? Yeah, I walked into that territory. I walked into KXW and I changed one damn letter of the goddamn name to G for Global. That's all I changed. Nothing else changed. And yet you're trying to act like I changed everything. I did not change damn everything. Maybe get your head out of your ass and see what the hell is going on, and then maybe you would realize.
It's just disrespectful. Eventually, people were starting to see the true colors of Josh Snyder. He started not paying talent.
That's not true. I paid all my talent. I don't know why he's getting that thing. That's not true.
Started attempting to force talent to work injured.
That's also not true. Never forced talent to work injured. That's not true either. I don't know. See, he's straight lying here. This is literally not true.
Like, seriously injured.
Absolutely not true.
Anyway, a lot of falling out. We lost a lot of roster members, and people were saying, hey, if you want me to stick around, things need to change here. And then he fires me. He keeps my family employed, but fires me. No explanation.
I perfectly gave an explanation, but your ass just didn't want to frickin' accept it and never wanted to make it public. And I chose not to because it was none of my business. I fired you, Christian paid. I fired you because you started showing up on TMZ because you were caught frickin' relapsing with drugs. I fired you because your ass was a liability. I could not have started this GXW knowing that I had a guy who consistently kept showing up on TMZ with doing drugs. That isn't good for my look. That isn't good for presentation. That isn't good for anything. So yes, I fired you. Just a freaking firebly because you wouldn't do rehab. So shame on you for acting like I just unknowingly fired you. You damn well know why you got fired. You know it. Freaking admit your sins and fucking move on from it. Because you know what? You're also probably not going to mention the fact that I gave you a job still. I gave you a job afterwards about a month or two later. I gave you a chance to fight for a job when you kept showing up and invading my show. Your ass could have easily been freaking arrested.
I'm just hanging out one day, packing my go bag, getting ready to get in the car and speed off to the next city. And then I open my mailbox, because I hadn't checked it in a few days. And then I see a contract written by Josh Snyder, releasing me from my GXW contract.
Also not true. You might have gotten a mail thing. I think I probably did send you something in the mail. Or I probably called you, because I actually have some self-respect to why I would call you. But you want to, I might have sent something in the mail. Who freaking knows? I don't remember. But I can say that I did not release you from your GXW contract because your ass never had one. I was given all KXW contracts, and I chose to renegotiate with every person, plus because I was bringing new guys in. If they stayed, they stayed. If they left, they left. Your ass, I didn't want to hire you for that reason. You kept getting caught on TMZ with drugs, so I chose to publicly announce that you were fired and not give you a GXW contract. But logically, you never had a GXW contract. Why I kept your family? Because I had some self-respect, and also they did nothing wrong. Like, I had an issue with them, but I'm a businessman and I'm a wrestler before anything, and before my humanness takes over. I understand how wrestling works, and sometimes in wrestling, you just gotta deal with your suffering and move on, and I did with Eliminator, and I gave him a sting. I did with Andrew Blackwell, and I actually became really close with the damn guy once I got a thing. I liked the guy. The guy's a great talent. Saw a great future in the guy. Think he was a Young Lions champion. So, this ridiculous statement he's making here, that I unjustly fired him, is complete false. All of this is complete false.
Right.
Saying if I had shown up to the arena, I would be immediately prosecuted.
You started invading shows and you weren't arrested. How are you going to explain that then? You showed up at one of the shows and started cutting a promo. I allowed you to cut the promo and I didn't frickin' have you arrested. How do you explain that to me then?
Oh, no.
Now, once again, I state, I shared the roads with this man. I shared locker rooms with this man. I've tagged with this man. And this is how he pays me back. If he wanted to come back into KXW, he could have asked me.
I did. You said no. You said I don't belong in your KXW because you still for some reason had to claim it was all yours and no one else had a part in it. It was all about you. Don't ever frickin' say I didn't ask you, because you know I did, and you know you said no.
He could have asked anyone. But no. That's what Josh is. He likes to stick his fingers where they don't belong, and he likes to break things.
I didn't break things, though. I did not break anything.
That's not how I roll.
Bullshit.
So yeah, since I've got...
No, you like to break, and you have to be part of the breaking news when you're freaking caught with drugs and almost arrested for that.
Control back, because trust me, it took a good year and a half to gain control back, to get my entire share back.
Yeah, that's how negotiations sometimes go there. Though you didn't offer, I wanted a good, if I was gonna sell it back to you of all people, you better way you're gonna offer some good amount of freaking dough. You didn't offer it, so the thing kept being in my possession. After some point, you finally got it, you finally paid enough, I finally sold it to you. How business works, my friend.
But I got it back. And ever since, Sniper has been blackballed and blacklisted from KXW.
Or
at least so he thinks. I'll get to that later.
Definitely, probably is definitely needed for that. I would say for that, definitely. So, it seems like Josh Sniper kind of gets to you a little bit under your skin. So let's kind of move on from that.
Yeah, he does, because he knows right there that I will respond, and he knows damn well I am better than him.
Seems like there's...
And that eats him alive, and that's why he tried to hold my stupid ass down. He tried to hold me down because he knew I was better than him. I proved it when I beat him for the ECW Championship, and I can prove it any other day, any day of the week, and I fight him.
Some bad blood. So, about Tom Terror, I've heard...
I'm just gonna... I don't know if it's known, but Tom Terror is my brother. My blood brother. So this one is going to be an interesting part to talk about.
Heard some about Tom Terror here and there. So what's up with him, man? Like, what's going on with that guy?
Well, Tom Terror. He was another one of the core originals.
True.
For KXW.
True.
Trained at the academy. Great talent. But during the Garrett Lee regime, Patrick Stevenson had warned people about Tom Terror because he had been going through some personal issues. He's going through some demons.
Let me give the backstory on what led to the Tom Terror you guys have seen recently in KXW. So, Tom Terror, when he started in KXW, or maybe in AWC, I don't fully remember, was given this really ugly, like mixture of like a mask of welder or whatever, I think it kind of put like a weird little stupid hockey mask thing on, and given this black outfit and told you this would look so cool, you look so different. And for them, they might have thought it was a good idea. To him, it hit differently. Mentally, it felt different because he already felt like an outsider. He already felt like he didn't belong, that his look was different, that he felt different, that he didn't belong anywhere. And for them to give him that mask, to him it proved it. So yes, so when he was wrestling KXW, when he was doing all that, he had his demons and he was fighting them hard, man. And it was a battle to the thing. It was a battle to the death with him almost. But he overcame them in just not a good way.
And he had renegotiated his contract and came back. In his first match back, he caused numerous injuries, causing the superstar to go into retirement early. And then the next week he did.
Oh, you son of a... I want to mute him just so I don't have to hear him talk, but unfortunately I got to hear what Laz is talking
the same.
So, he's talking about Balls Mahoney and Nunzio. For some reason, he's not name-dropping them, and I don't know why. What happened was Terror decided to not wear the mask, and that was his way of overcoming his demons. He stopped doing all of his other stuff that he was doing outside of the ring once he took off that mask. And his new thing was he enjoyed the suffering of others, and he enjoyed it way too much than he should have. He took out Balls Mahoney. He took out Nunzio. He injured both of them in one of those brutal boots against the ring post I've ever seen. It hurt. It hurt to watch. I will admit I enjoyed the suffering of them too. I am a bad man for that. I will admit it. I enjoyed the suffering of them too. What he did afterwards, though, which I'm gonna hope he brings up when talking about Terror, I could not, under any circumstances, agree with.
And Garrett was warned. He was just like, you gotta do something. But no suspensions were ever laid. I was doing my own thing, so I couldn't really get involved.
I'll openly admit I was the one that talked Garrett Lee out suspending him. I'll openly admit it. It wasn't that I wanted him to do more, it's just it wasn't going to fix the problem. Unfortunately, this was a problem that Terry needed to figure out by himself. Suspending him wouldn't have fixed it because he could have came back more angry. I didn't know how to fix the situation, but I knew suspending him wouldn't have done it.
I wasn't on the board, so I couldn't do anything. As much as I wanted to. So the next week,
could have physically got involved, just saying.
Arn Anderson, the first ever KXW World Heavyweight Champion, comes by for a visit. We have a title match that night, so he's coming to wish good luck to the competitors. Tom Terror shows up, beats the holy shit out of Arn. And I can remember it vividly. I was sitting there in the back, watching this go down, and Tom just grabs him by the throat. It's on top of a production truck. God knows how many feet in the air. He choke slams Arn off of this production truck, and he lands on the crates at the bottom. Lands on his neck.
I really need to. I hope it's never thing, but I did not approve that at all. I did not agree with him at all. I gave him shit for that because that was too far. Because I respect the hell out of Arn Anderson. Of course I would. Why the hell wouldn't I? After all he's done, he was the first ever KXW World Champion. He was guaranteed KXW Hall of Famer. I respected him a lot, and so when Terra did that, I absolutely did not agree with it at all. I hated him for that. I don't know what he was thinking, because I know deep down Terra respects Arn too, so I don't know what was going through his mind. I guess maybe Arn was just a resemblance of the past. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but something set him off to do that, and I never can agree with what he did there.
At that time, we had thought he was paralyzed, and that's what was reported because we didn't know much. But I am happy to report that Arn is doing better since that attack. A restraining order is placed. Tom Terra is still on the roster, and people have asked me in DMs and have asked me what I'm going to do about Tom Terra.
Good to know Arn's doing better, and I'm curious what you're going to do with Tom Terra too. Because if you're going to fire him, you might get your first ever appearance in the Bros of Extreme. Just saying.
And during the hiatus, I have given him strict suspension. 90 days.
You think that's going to fix the problem, Payne? Do you think that's going to fix it? Do you understand what you do when you send a man who craves violence home? He craves it even more. The violence gets stronger. The need for violence gets stronger. You are setting up your roster for injuries that could go beyond your length. That ring post boot will just be a tape. He might do it multiple times to people. Off of the suspension that you have given him. Because he has a need for violence that is beyond what we can understand. I don't understand it. Neither do you. This is above this. He needs help. I agree. I will agree with it. He needs help. Suspending him isn't the you don't fix it with suspending him.
Because we cannot have Tom Terra ruining this new era of KXW.
Oh, trust me, he probably gonna ruin it because he gonna be pissed when he come back. He gonna wreak havoc on all your asses.
Of course.
Now, like I said, every active roster member is in the lethal lottery. So whether his name gets drawn or not, some action will be taken if necessary. But that's about all I have to say when it regards to Tom Terra. He's been suspended. As of right now, there are no plans to bring him back into the fold.
Okay. So, with that being said, I'm guessing that neither one of those guys are still employed by KXW, correct?
Tom Terra is currently employed, but he's on very thin ice.
He's on very thin ice. And Josh Snyder is just
no chance in
not
hell.
at all.
No chance in hell.
Chance in hell. I completely understand. So, kind of moving forward, what are the real big plans for Christian Payne in
Well, as for Christian Payne, as for myself, I basically have done about everything I've wanted to do.
Except beat me.
I've had fantastic tag matches with each of my brothers. I've had many battles with my father. I've been to every city imaginable, every state, every province across the world. 4-time 24/7 champion.
Of course.
I've had a good career. And as of right now, especially with me being in charge. And with the last time I had sold my share, things got crazy.
Right.
And I never thought I would get it back. Now, granted, when I was released from my GXW contract, I considered
That you never had.
retirement there
Never had a GXW contract, but okay.
because I wasn't where I belonged. But I've strongly considered retirement again. And you know, if the situation's right and if something ever really happens, I would consider getting back in the ring, but as of right now, I gotta heal, man. I've had I just like in the war zone. We were on the road. One of my last big matches was a ladder match. Those things suck.
Of course, yeah. I've been in my fair share of
And,
ladder matches. I understand.
My neck is about as good as a cracker. It's good, but it just doesn't fulfill me yet. So
Right.
I've considered hanging it up for good, but like I said, if the situation's right, maybe.
I don't believe him. Because if the spotlight's there, he'll take it. If the spotlight's there, he'll take it. He'll give himself something if the spotlight's there. But if that is the end of his career, all I can say is good riddance.
It's a vape, not a USB stick. I had to hit you with it real quick.
I have no idea what that reference is, but okay.
I got an email today though, and I need to reveal this because you asked if I had any more big news. I completely forgot about this, and it doesn't make any sense that I would forget about this. So, KXW Voltage Season 1, when it comes out on the Central YouTube channel, it will be in conjunction with Kojiko. So we have a full-blown TV deal. So everything will be run on the KXW YouTube channel, but you'll just be seeing Kojiko logos and everything. And with that said, the main event of the first ever episode of Voltage will be for the brand new KXW Kojiko Championship. It'll be an 8-man battle royal, and the contestants are all in place, all but one. But that's fine. I can look up and down the roster. There's probably somebody that deserves that slot.
Okay, I'm gonna stop reacting to this because I just don't give a shit anymore about the rest of this guy's little load of crap. I won't get rid of that. I'm just gonna talk because now it's my turn to reveal something, Mr. Payne. The best part about this is my turn to reveal something to you. And what I'm here to reveal to you, my man, Mr. Payne, is actually quite perfectly done. Because, you see, you're not the only one that's been talking to Kojiko. And Kojiko thought that I would be a good place in KXW, would be a good guy in KXW. So, well, you may not be able to see it because of the spotlight and that. No, you can't, unfortunately. Stupid camera. But what I was going to show you all is a KXW contract that I've signed. It probably got sent to Christian Payne this morning because I signed it last night while he was live doing that podcast. And the name on the contract is Josh Snyder. Because I'm in KXW. And that final man in the Kojiko Championship Battle Royal is me. And I'm going to win that Mr. Payne, and I'm going to win it to spite you. Because that's all this will always be about. Not until one thing is for certain, and that is I beat you to prove I'm better than you. And I have to fix this goddamn company in KXW. You gotta fix it because you are gonna break it. You've done it before, you will do it again. You are going to break this company. So I have to fix it, and I'm going to win that Culture Girl Championship. And with the help of that network, I am going to fix it. I'm going to do what is necessary, despite what the fans like it or not. If the fans like it, good. I'm glad to have them on my side. If the fans don't, they can kiss my ass. But in the end, I am going to do what I gotta do to fix it. And there was nothing you can do about it. Nothing. So, Christian Payne, I'll see you on the first episode of High Voltage.